Good morning, students. I hope you guys are okay. It's me again, Miss Magola, and today we're going to learn about 2D shapes. Yes, all right. So we're going to continue from yesterday's topic. You remember yesterday we learned about shapes, we learned about their names, we learned about their attributes. So today we're going to focus more on how to identify shapes using their colors, how to compare shapes using their sizes, and we're going to learn about the different forms of shapes. Okay, so remember yesterday I told you guys to come with objects. Remember objects? So we're going to use those objects today for our lesson. Okay, so with me here, I have different objects that represent different shapes. All right, so can you guys remember what this is? What shape this is? Yes, it's a circle. Okay, a circle. We have a circle. We have a square. Yes, and then we have a triangle. We also have a rectangle. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how these objects differ in sizes, how we compare shapes using their sizes, using this object. Okay, so I'm going to start by this one, the rectangle. So I have with me a rectangle here. If I take this rectangle and I take this square, and then I put the square on top of the rectangle, which one do you think is smaller between these two shapes? Correct. The triangle is smaller than the rectangle. Yes, you guys are smart. Okay, so we're going to experiment using a triangle. So if I have with me a rectangle and then I have a triangle on top of the rectangle, which one do you think is bigger between the triangle and the rectangle? Good! The rectangle is bigger than the triangle. So right now, I want you guys to open page 15 from the workbooks that you were provided with. I want you guys to complete a worksheet for me. So as you can see that there are a lot of shapes, different shapes on that page. So I want you guys to color in those shapes. However, you're going to color them in based on their category. So you're going to use the color red for the triangles, the color blue for the rectangles, the color purple for the squares, and the color yellow for the circles. Okay, yes, please complete that worksheet for me, and then we're going to move on to another activity. You can see from the board we have the circles, the rectangles, the triangles, and the squares. This is to show you that shapes can come in different forms. Okay, so we can have a regular triangle that we all know since grade 1. We've been taught about this triangle, but I want you guys to understand that this triangle can be in different forms, but it's still a triangle. Even if the pointing part can face downwards, it's still a triangle. We have a rectangle. This is the regular rectangle that we know. However, there are other forms of rectangles. So which means that the rectangle can the rectangle can lose its form, but it's still a rectangle. Even if it can face upwards or downwards, it's still a rectangle. The only thing that doesn't change form, because it's circle, it's round, it is this circle. No matter how we put it, even if we can take it and put it anyhow, it doesn't change its form. This is the only shape that doesn't change its form in the two. This is the only shape that doesn't change its form. Okay, yes. So we have the square. The square can also change its form. As you can see, this is the regular square that we know. If we put it like this, it is still a square. Okay, even if it can face downwards, sideways, anywhere, it's still a square, as long as it has 4 equal sides. And then the triangle, as long as it has 3 sides, no matter how the form is, it's still a triangle. Do you guys understand? Now that we know about the forms of shapes, I want us to rearrange all the shapes using their forms. Okay, so I have all the shapes here scattered, and we're going to rearrange them in their own category. Okay, so we have a square. Place it on the squares, and then I'm going to demonstrate how these shapes differ, like how I'm going to place all of them in their different forms. Okay, we're done with the squares. Let's move on to the circles. I told you guys that circles do not change their forms. Okay, so they are just the way they are. And then I want us to move on to the triangle. So I want you guys to see the difference in the triangle. We have the regular triangle that we know. We have this triangle. We have this triangle. Can you see that they are so different? They are different, but they are still triangles. We have this triangle. Okay, so let's move on to the rectangles. So we have our regular rectangle that we all know, that is similar to the one that I used to measure. We have another form of a triangle. Let's put it. I hope you guys understand. So I want us to do an activity. Okay, so I'm going to remove all of this shape from the board. And I want us to rearrange them. I want you guys to understand the forms of these shapes. Okay, now that we've arranged everything, we know that shapes have different forms, and that they will still remain. Even though they have different forms, their names do not change. Okay, so for this activity, I want you to create your own object, your own 2D object using your shapes. So if you can open page 23 from your workbook, you're going to find colored papers. Okay, so I need you to draw the shapes that you're gonna need for your object. Okay, so let's say with me here I have triangles, rectangles, squares. You can cut out as many objects as you want, as many shapes as you want, as long as they are going to work in handy on creating your own object. Okay, so I created my own object, and I created a house using my shapes. Okay, so you guys are going to create anything from a sun, a car. You can also create a house, any animal that you want using these shapes. Okay, so with me here I used the triangle, the square, the circles, and the rectangle for the door. Okay, so you guys need to include all the shapes in your object. So for the conclusion of the lesson, I'm going to play a video and that summarizes everything that we've learned, that shows all different forms of shapes, colors, everything. And then I'm going to ask learners questions based on the video. Yes, thank you.